In this lesson I will show you how you can make offset from the tiles that you create when you split an UV into smaller parts. We will use about the same technique as we did in an earlier lesson when I showed you how to create index. But we can start right away by building those tiles. So I press Shift A, input, and use the texture coordinate so we have that in. And then I will multiply that with something, so Shift A, converter, vector math, and change add into multiply, put the UV to the top vector, and in the bottom I would like it to be flexible, so I will use an input value for X and an input value for Y. So Shift A, input, and select value, and we can change value, so just in the label change it to X, so we know that this is for X, and then just copy it by pressing Shift D and change the label to Y, and then we know that. And now we need to combine those, so we press Shift A again, go to converter and combine X, Y, Z, and we put this value to X and this to Y, and we should have something in here, so we can have like 10 like that, then we can have 5 here for instance, and we put that to the multiply here, and then we have that in. And the next step is to do a fraction out of it, so we copy this, Shift D, change it into a fraction, so we have fraction here, connect that, and then we subtract and multiply, so Shift D to copy, subtract, and change it to 0.5, and multiply with 2, so multiply, connect the vector to the vector, and in the bottom change to 2, so we have that in. And we also do an absolute, so Shift D again, put an absolute here, so we have that. And now we split it by using a separate XYZ, so converter, separate XYZ, and then we can just use the normal smooth min and map range to get our tiles. So Shift A, converter, math, and change this to smooth minimum, X in here, Y in here, and now you see it looks like this if we go to render view, so we have it like that. Now we have this problem with half and half, so we need to fix that as well, and we can do that before the fraction here. So we add this add here, so I just copy Shift D and add, and then move this to 0.5, 0.5, and now we have it smooth, looks good. Let's say that we are now doing wood floor with longer tiles and then the offset, of course. Then we would like to have a really low value here, but we would like to use the map range to take away all the round stuff, so I do Shift A, converter, and select the map range, put that in, and change this to, for instance, 0 to 1 or even smaller. Can you do it like that? But what you can see now is that this line here is much thinner than this line. So this is a softer line here than it is here, and it gets more and more obvious if you increase the size between them. So if I put 20 here as I did now, you can see that this line is still okay, but this is not okay. So to fix that, we just change the multiply values here. So you can see if I increase this value here, you get almost the same as we get here. But it should not be a manual work. We should do that in a more automatic way. And how we do it is just that we divide these two, because then we get the difference between those, and then we can put that in to make this even here. So we start with that as well. And since we will put it in here, I will then just add combine XYZ first. So Shift A, converter, combine XYZ, and then we do the division, so Shift A, converter math, and I put in a divide, and I take this x value here, and I take the y value here, and I also would like that to be multiplied by 2, so I copy this, Shift D, multiply by 2, so we have the normal way in as well in the top here. So we put in 2 here, and we put that in here, and then that would be a good way to just even these things out. So now everything looks as it should, except that we don't have the offset yet. So we have done this, and now we can add the offset, and as I said before, it will be almost the same as the index, meaning that I will use floor to make the y value, in this case, the same value all the way out. So when I multiply this, then this first I scale, what do you call it? In the I scale, the first row will be 0. The next row in the y direction will be 1. Next will be 2, 3, and 4, as normally, if we use floor here. So we can just add a floor after this. So I put in floor, like that. And now I would like to put in a lot of stuff between here. So I will move all that part here, just here, because that is just building the tile here. The UV stuff we put before. So now we have the floor in, and I would like to separate and then combine again, so I can put in some math. So I do that, Shift A, converter, separate XYZ, and then I combine it. So Shift A, converter, combine XYZ. So now we have that in, and if I just drag the Y, it's exactly the same as before. What I now would like to do, what I tried to explain before, is that I would move this in the X, I can move it in the Y direction in this case, because I would like this to go a little bit up and a little bit more up and so on, so we get some difference between the wood floor here. And to move it in the Y direction, then I add the add in the Y direction. If I would like it to move in the X direction, then I would add the add in the X direction. But in this case, I would like to move up, so I add the add in the Y direction. So Shift A, converter, math, add. Beware, do not use clamp here. You can see then you cut everything. So use no clamp, please. Okay. Now I need to use this and drag out the X direction, because in this case I would like it to move in the Y direction, but I would like it to move every second or every third. So to tell them that this is the first column, I will use this only. Then every single X value must be the same here. And then same for this one and so on. So this will be 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, for instance. I will show you how that works. So what we need to do is to separate this one. So I take the copy of this, Shift D, and put it in, and I will use the X value into this, but I will not just put it in here because it will not do that much of a difference. But what I will do is to add a modulo first, so we have something to control that we will use the second or third or fifth to this. And to make that happen, I press Shift A, convert the math, change this into modulo. See if I can find that one. There we have it. And I take the X value here, and then I say, okay, I would like the third to be changed, or or change it 3 times or whatever. I will use the modulo. But if I just took that in here, you will see no difference at all. You need a small value here, because we can't move it just one big step at a time. It should be with small decimals. So we add a multiply between here. So Shift D and multiply and put in like 0.2 or something like that. And now it really looks good directly, because now we have an offset, and the tiling is now more natural when you're building this wooden floor. And if you would like it to be a little bit more, then you just increase this, or if you want it to be every second, you decrease it. You can also do it, when we have the brick texture, you get an offset every third row or something like that. If you would like it to be like that, then you just in greater than or less than in here. So we can copy this one, press Shift D, put in like a less than, and change this to 1. And now you can see that the first one is okay. Then we have 3 offset, then back again, 3 offset, back again, and so on, because we have 4 here. If I put this to 3, it will get it like this. And this is exactly how the brick texture is working. But if you want a small offset every time, then take away this one and use the modulo in this way instead. And as I said, this is because I would like to move in this direction. If I want to move in the other direction, then let's say that I change the floor, so I put 5 here and I put 20 here, so we have this. Now I need to change the divide as well, because now we go the other direction, so now we need to change these, and we also need to change this into a 2 here. So if you get the problem that something gets a lot rounder than other thing, then just throw these around, so then you get it in and it looks good again. Okay, but now you can see it looks it doesn't look good, because this should be a wooden floor, and now we have the offset in the wrong direction. And then it's just to turn everything by moving this to the X position, because now we would like to have the offset in the X position. So we put Y to the Y, but we put this into the X instead. So we do it like this. But now you can also see that the offset looks a bit strange, because we get more here, less here, and then something in between here. But we don't get like the offset. And that is because we are now using the X value here, and we should use the Y value. So if we put in the Y value here, let's see, so I'll put in a Y value here, then we get it exactly as we did before, but in the other direction, because now we take like a static or a floor value out from the Y, which means that we have same value here, then we get a new value on the next row, and then a new value here, and that will be the base for how much we should move in the X direction. And then we add that movement here by just increasing or decreasing this movement here. So that is basically how you do those offsets. So can be a bit complicated, but not so much. It's the same as before. We're using the floor, we separate, we do all that stuff. So it's these nodes here that do all the work. And the rest we did was just to create the tile, so to say. So the separate and combine, just to add some math between, and then we do the offset by adding stuff in here, and the adding we decide down here, and using a floor will then create a static value that we can read by using modulo in this case. We multiply it with a small value just to move it a little bit so it doesn't jump one complete step at a time. And then we get the offset. And now we go from the Y and using the X. And if you want the other direction, then you use the X as a base to move the Y. So that is the only complicated thing here, to see that they are like reversed, or we are using X and Y together. Okay, so hopefully you learned something in this lesson as well, and as usual I will see you in the next, so I just say bye for now.